Hey y'all, let me tell you a little story. When I got my E90, I noticed my key fob didn't really work very well. When I pressed any of the 3 buttons, sometimes they would work, but most of the time they wouldn't. At first I thought the problem was the battery, but after charging the key fob by driving for a while, it still didn't work most of the time, even though the battery should have been fully charged. Then I thought maybe the issue was the antenna, but the key fob would work like 30 feet away sometimes, and sometimes it wouldn't even work from like 3 feet away. After a ton of research and some headache, I decided to replace the rechargeable C-cell battery within the key fob because I figured it wouldn't hurt and I was kind of running out of options at that point. As you can see, this footage right here is of me cutting the key fob open with a razor blade. I've seen some tutorials out there suggesting microwaving it or cooking it in the oven, which is completely unnecessary in my opinion, may even damage it, so just use a razor blade. It honestly wasn't too difficult. All it took was some finesse and patience. After about 5 minutes, I was able to crack it open, so now we're here. As soon as I cracked the key fob open, this is what I found. So this solder joint right here on the battery contact, this thing was completely loose. I already fixed it, as you can tell. This solder joint right here is a little bit more shiny than this one. This one's factory, and this one I already did. And I wouldn't be surprised if I wasn't the only one this happened to. After all, this key fob is 11, 12 years old. And I'm sure that the key fob has been dropped many, many times, which has loosened up the solder joints over time. So I'm going to show you, I'm actually going to reflow both of these just in case you're experiencing similar issues with your key fob and want to make it work like new. I also ended up, not needing to replace the battery at all. As soon as I restarted this contact and tested it out, it worked perfectly. So if you want to do this yourself, especially if you have no knowledge about soldering, I'm going to show you the very basics here. First thing you want to do, you need some isopropyl alcohol. Get a Q-tip here. All right. Put some alcohol on it. You want to clean the surface of the board. Now this board's already clean because I've done this in the past, but it actually wasn't too dirty either when I first took it out. But you just want to make sure you don't have any, dirt and grime on there when you're soldering. You want the surface to be completely clean, like they do in the factory. You're going to take your Flux. I just have Chipquik. I was using MG Chemicals for a while. That stuff's pretty good. I just wanted to try this out. You're going to put some Flux on both of the solder joints. There we go, should be good. And take your soldering iron. I have a Hacko desoldering gun, and this one is a Quicko T12. T12, highly recommended soldering iron. But you can get a cheap one, maybe like 10 bucks on Amazon. And turn it on. I'm gonna set the temperature. Temperatures are at around 340, should be just fine. More than enough. And you could just reflow it with no solder, but putting some fresh solder on there I think is a really good idea. Any work with circuit board, it's a lot easier with a circuit board holder. Now, this one's really tiny. Don't really need a holder, but I'm going to use one anyway, because why not? Alright. Take your soldering iron, put it right next to the joint here. You can see the solder liquefy immediately. I'm just going to mix that in. New solder. Oh, and use that one. See, the joint popped out there, so There we go. That old solder joint just popped out. Make sure that's on the board. I'm actually gonna push it with my tweezers. Wow. Reflow it. There we go. Get some more solder on there for sure. This solder joint too. Also push on this from the bottom to make sure that the pin on the battery contact doesn't pop out. Beautiful. Let's get some fresh solder on there. All right. Well, both of those, you know, they don't look too bad. It's not factory, obviously, but should be stronger than factory, at least after 10 years. Once again, you're going to clean the surface with some isopropyl. So here's my original key fob. Not the greatest condition. And here is the new key fob that I'm going to be using. This shell right here, the shell is about $6 on AliExpress from Quicko. And then this badge, I believe, was about $10. This is an OEM badge on eBay. The one on AliExpress did come with a sticker, but it was super cheap. It wore off really quickly. I've had this OEM emblem on for about 2 months, and it's pretty good quality, so it stayed in pretty decent condition this entire time. The only thing about this aftermarket shell is that I don't think this will be waterproof when you put the circuit board in. So you could seal it with some glue, maybe some RTV, but I'm just going to leave it just in case I need access to it again, or my battery actually needs replacing. So this is the non-comfort access model. There's no battery access port on the back, original either. This is why I had to cut it up, or cut it open in the first place. Just set it down. You're gonna make sure the battery fits flush. That should be good. Stick it on top, snap them together. Beautiful, beautiful. How do they click? That feels great. The other thing that came with this is a keyblade. I sent them a picture of my keyblade. It's really sketched out, but they sent me this a new keyblade and shell for $6 total, I think, and they both work really well. Once again, compared to the original, much better condition. I also ordered an extra one here. As you can see in the middle, with the cheap sticker. And all right, guys, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, peace.